Most founders think they have a sales problem. They don't. They have a communication problem. Because when it comes time to sell your product, you don't get 30 minutes. You don't get a full presentation. You get seconds. And in that moment, everything comes down to one thing. Can you clearly communicate value fast? Because if you can't, you don't get the deal. I've seen this over and over again. After more than 30 years in the industry, launching over 2,000 products and working with founders just like you, the ones that get picked up by retailers, the ones that get distribution, the ones that actually scale, they all have one thing in common. They make it easy for buyers to say yes. And most founders don't. They over-explain. They under-communicate value. They send long emails, decks that don't get read, or worse, nothing structured at all. And the buyer moves on. Because buyers don't have time to figure out your product. You have to do that for them. That's where a sell sheet comes in, but not just any sell sheet, a real one, built the right way. At Rabbit, we built our premium sell sheet process for one reason, to help buyers take your product seriously. Because a sell sheet is not just a document, it's a one-page sales tool designed to communicate exactly what your product does, why it matters, and why someone should carry it. In one clear, structured, persuasive format. No confusion, no wasted space, no guesswork. Here's how we approach it. First, clarity. What problem does your product solve? Why does it matter? Why should anyone care? Because if that's not obvious immediately, nothing else works. Then, positioning. What makes your product different? Why is it better than the alternatives? Why should a buyer choose you instead of someone else? Because remember, you're not being evaluated in isolation. You're being compared. Then we focus on structure. A sell sheet has to be easy to scan, easy to understand, and easy to remember. Because buyers are not studying your product. They're reviewing it quickly. So every section, every headline, every visual has a job to guide them to the decision. And then we bring it all together through design, copywriting, and layout. Because a sell sheet is not just information, it's a presentation. It needs to look polished, professional, and ready for market. Because perception matters. A strong product with a weak presentation still loses. Now here's what happens when this is done right. You stop chasing buyers and start getting taken seriously. Your product becomes easier to understand, easier to evaluate, and easier to say yes to, because you've removed friction. And that's the goal. Not just to explain your product, but to make it simple for someone to move forward. A lot of founders skip this, or they try to piece it together themselves. A document here, some notes there, maybe a rough PDF. And it shows. It feels unclear, unstructured, easy to ignore. We don't do that. We build a clean, focused, buyer-ready sales tool that supports your product at the exact moment it matters most. If I were in your position right now, I wouldn't be asking, how do I explain this better? I'd be asking, how do I make this easier to buy? Because that's what a sell sheet really does. It makes the decision easier. So the next step is simple. Schedule a strategy session with us. We'll look at your product, your positioning, and how you're currently presenting it, if at all. And we'll show you exactly what's missing and what it would take to fix it. If it makes sense, we can move forward. If it doesn't, at least you walk away with clarity. But I will tell you this, if a buyer can't quickly understand your product, they won't move forward. They'll move on. If you're serious about getting distribution, getting meetings, and getting your product taken seriously, you need this dialed in. Go ahead and schedule the session right now. Let's build something that actually sells.